Hi. It's my enormous pleasure on behalf of the SPAGN Board of Directors to welcome you to the 13th Annual SPAGN Conference and to Dublin. So welcome, thank you all for being here. So I am Sorrel Bickley and I work at Sarcoma UK, and I thought, because this is my first in-person SPAGN conference, and I think it's probably the first time in person for many of you, I'd tell you a little bit about me and why I'm here. So this is a picture of me with my mum when I was a teenager, and just a few years after this, she became quite ill and she very, very quickly passed away. And we found out that she had sarcoma. Actually, we didn't find out till after she died. So I hadn't heard the word sarcoma, it meant nothing to me, and I think that's probably an experience that many of you in the room share. And that was devastating for my family, but it's meant that I now have the enormous privilege of working for Sarcoma UK. And really I'm here because I want to make a change so that fewer people have to go through something like that. And I think that many of you in the room here today are here for exactly the same reason. So I wanted to really open by saying thank you to all of you here for everything that you do, everything you have done, and everything that I hope we will do together in the future. And welcome to Dublin, a beautiful, beautiful city, and I was delighted to even have a little bit of the Irish weather this morning. We had some rain, so we're getting into the spirit of Ireland, and I hope that everybody gets a chance to explore the city a little bit over the next few days. And this is our first fully in-person meeting that we all can come together, the first time since 2020. So SPAGN met in February, before we knew what was coming. But this is a picture from the Milan conference, and I'm sure you all see some familiar faces, some of you see your own face, and it's wonderful that now we're here together again, and we will take another picture like this together. And in fact, this is another change for all of us, that the last time we came together, we were SPAGN with an E, so a European network. And now we come together as a truly global network. So it's wonderful to bring everybody together and recognize that growth in SPAGN, that we truly are a global organization now. And we really are growing as a network. So SPAGN now has over 60 member groups from all across the world. And it's incredible to see all of those wonderful logos just representing the power of patient advocacy for sarcoma across the globe. And what I wanted to do, really to kick us off and welcome us to Ireland properly, is to welcome one of the newest members of SPAGN, which is Sarcoma Cancer Ireland. They're our local hosts here in Ireland, and we're absolutely delighted to have them as a member of SPAGN. So I wanted to invite them to come up and say a few words about their organisation, what they've been up to, and what they're hoping for from SPAGN and from the meeting. So I think I'm going to introduce Rebecca. Please come and join us. Carolyn. Rebecca and Carolyn, welcome. I can even give you it's very obvious. And your mic is just
Hi, good afternoon to everyone. Lovely to see all your faces, and yeah, very welcome to Dublin, to Ireland. I hope you've had a safe journey so far, and yeah, myself and Carol are really delighted to have SPAGN here in Dublin. We absolutely couldn't miss our first conference as a full member, seeing as you're here in Ireland. So myself, Carol and Deirdre are here today, and then Kelly will be here later in the week. And I know some of you might have seen Kelly's blog telling a little bit about how Sarcoma Cancer Ireland came to be. So in terms of our organisation, I'll just give you I won't read through everything on the slide, but just to give you an overview of who we are, and then Carol will talk a little bit about what we do. So I suppose on foot of the lack of services for sarcoma patients and changes in specialists and the lack of sarcoma specialists for a number of years, a group of patients had come together, I'm going to say circa 2016, 2017, to campaign for improved services. And that group stayed connected after they were successful, and we had a medical oncologist appointed to specialise in sarcoma. And in the depths of the pandemic in January 2021, 6 of us came together with a view to form a charity to support sarcoma patients on an ongoing basis, because there isn't, I suppose, as many of you will know, there isn't a full understanding of sarcoma in some of the larger cancer charities, and that was the feedback we'd had from patients or from carers. You know, it was quite a lonely place to be. So we came together and we formed, I suppose, a working committee that night, and then subsequently a board of directors, a board of trustees, and we are now a company limited by guarantee with charitable status pending. I was chatting to somebody in the lobby. The process is long, as probably some of you know if you've ever gone in and trying to set up a charity. But we are committed to the cause. We have a 5-year plan and, you know, an annual plan that we work on with our board and our committee leads each year. We're entirely comprised of volunteers. And we do have, as I say, both a board of trustees and then a management committee that would be responsible for day-to-day operations and trying to deliver on our annual plan and keep us honest in terms of the objectives of the organisation. And our subcommittees at the moment, we have subcommittees on advocacy and education, communications, fundraising, support, and then the all-important compliance and finance. We're also in the process of setting up some people call it CAIA, some say CAYA, but to have a group that supports children and young adolescents, and again advocates for their very specific needs within the healthcare service here in Ireland. So in terms of why we wanted to join SPAGN and why we're excited, we're a young organisation, we're in a small country, and we know when we have reached out for information or advice, we've been very fortunate to have the support of Sarcoma UK and Bone Cancer Research Trust across the Irish Channel. And, you know, I think in terms of joining SPAGN, it plugs us into more information about research and patient care and helps us in our advocacy efforts here in Ireland. And we can make more of an impact within our local healthcare service if we're following best practice and looking at what international best practice looks like. So we're here to listen and learn, really, more than anything else. But I very much appreciate the invite to come and tell you a little bit about us, and we'd love to chat in any of the breaks about what your groups are doing to see if there's anything great that we can take to do for our patients here in Ireland as well. So Carol will give you a quick overview of what we do or what we've done to date.
Hi, firstly I'd like to say welcome to Dublin. I know Sorrel's already done it, but this is our home stomping ground. Blanchardstown is actually where I was born and lived the first 34 years of my life, so if you need to know anything, come to me. So Rebecca has given you a description of who we are and what we're hoping to achieve. So basically, I'm the patient myself. I was diagnosed 6 years ago, and when I went looking for information here, there was nothing. I went to our local cancer centre and I asked them for information, and she asked me, was I sure it was a cancer? So that wasn't very promising. So when we eventually got together in 2021, we decided we needed something for the people who are coming after us. So our main goals are to raise awareness. So we have some really big social media platforms. I say big, it's big for Ireland. Remember, we're very small. So we have quite a number of followers. We would have a lot of interactions, and we would follow a lot of your pages and post the information on that might be relevant to different subtypes. Or so we always encourage people to look elsewhere, because the system here is quite small and you guys tend to have a lot more than we do because your population is huge compared to ours. We've also launched a financial support fund because, as we all know, having cancer is expensive and you have all your extra expenses. So we launched that at the end of last year, the start of this year, which we were quite happy about. It's a one-off payment, but we are hoping to launch a second one for exceptional needs in the future as well. We have established a support community, so we have a monthly online support group, which is, we have a trained counsellor who volunteers her time. The woman is amazing. We also do one-to-one support, one-to-one counselling services, and we have a peer support group amongst ourselves on social media and WhatsApp as well. So there's people there who's been there before who can answer some of your questions or who can direct you in the right way. Because as I said, when I had to go to Sarcoma UK, who were amazing, and in fairness, knew all of the doctors that I was dealing with, and they were brilliant, but it felt very lonely. So it was something that we really wanted, was for people to not feel so lonely going forward. And our last one that we're looking to do is advocacy. So we want to engage with the sarcoma group here in Ireland, the medical part. We want to establish a CAYA group so we can do a smooth transition from children's services to adult services. And we want to be able to do a programme for GPs to learn about sarcoma, because as we know, not every GP is going to see one. And if they do, it might only be one in their career. So we want them to think that maybe this lump or this swelling could actually be sarcoma. So we're basically looking to follow after Sarcoma UK and what they've established already. We don't need to redo it, we just need to do it for the Irish market here. So yeah, enjoy your stay in Dublin. As I said, it's my home stomping ground, so if you need anything, just give me a shout, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you so much, Rebecca and Carolyn, and it's lovely to have that welcome to Dublin in the proper Irish accent, which I would never attempt to do. Okay, so this conference, why we're all here today. So this is the annual meeting place of the International Sarcoma Patient Advocacy Community. We're here to create a sense of unity. We want to build an international voice for sarcoma patients. We also want to get some facts. We want to learn some medical updates, and we want to share some of our own experiences around best practice, experiences and ideas. We want to strengthen all of our organisations so that we're better prepared for the future and we can serve our communities in a better way. And we want to build relationships with one another. I'm sure you'll all know that all of our work is about people, and that means working together with one another, building relationships with medical experts and with industry. And we want to inspire and motivate, and I'm absolutely feeling completely inspired by hearing everything that Sarcoma Cancer Ireland have planned, and your level of ambition is wonderful. Well done. But we also want to highlight SPAGN and what SPAGN is able to support and facilitate, that we as a group are an experienced and reliable partner. And on behalf of the SPAGN Board of Directors, I also want to say we're here to listen. So we want to hear about your experiences, the challenges you're experiencing, and what your ideas are. So if you're a first-timer like me, these are some notes. So welcome, you're among friends, and we want to encourage everybody to not be shy and talk to one another, get to know one another, because we can all learn a lot from each other. So please feel free to put your hand up, contribute. The rule is that there are no silly questions, or no question is a silly question. And our official language of the conference is bad English. So something I will acknowledge is we have lots of accents in the room, which are all beautiful and wonderful, but it means that we should all try and speak a little slowly and give each other time, and we'll work it out between ourselves. So while we're here, enjoy beautiful Dublin, but maybe not during the programme sessions. And most importantly, have fun. So we've got lots and lots on the agenda. We've got lots to get through. So to help us, we will ask you all to join us in being punctual. So let's start on time, finish on time, and we'll be strict with our break timings. So we've got lots of different types of sessions in this conference. So we've got kind of formal presentations, lots of workshops, marketplace sessions. So there's lots of opportunity for interaction. But let's keep the Q&As at the end of the talks. We'll keep them tight. We'll let things run into the breaks. We'll let things go into lunch, and we'll take some questions just informally when we hit the end of the session. And I'll just make one note around, it's very, very tempting to hear something and share your own personal story or ask lots of medical questions about your own case. We'll just ask you to not do those in the broad sessions. It's just in order that everybody can get as much as they can while we're all together in the main session. So logistics. The full programme is in your conference booklet. We are in this room, Heather A, for all of the plenary sessions, and lunch is next door in Heather B. So we'll have an internal dinner this evening, and that will also be in Heather B. If you are bringing a presentation, please take it to the back early enough before the sessions, not just when you run up to the stage, just to help us keep things going smoothly. Boring stuff. There is bathrooms on this floor. There's Wi-Fi. During the conference, if you need to get up, walk out, have a glass of water, please feel free, feel comfortable to do what you need to do to get the most out of the meeting. We've got lots of fire exits this way. I'm sure many of you were on the plane this morning, that kind of thing, but they're well signposted. Could I ask us to all have our phones on silent while we're in the meeting? And we're very lucky to have a photographer and a videographer here with us during this meeting. So it's Uli and Adrian and Corey. But I do need to ask, if anybody would not like to have their photograph taken during the meeting, please let Catherine and Mishi know at the back as soon as possible, and we'll make arrangements for that. And we will get together for a conference photo at some point. I think we're still figuring out when that will happen. Finally, I must say a very warm thank you to the sustaining partners of SPAGN. So we would not be here today without the support of all of these sponsors, and they are equally our sustaining partners of SPAGN. And it's a huge benefit that we are able to get this support. And I know some representatives from these organisations are here, and we'll have the chance to interact with them as well. So I wanted to just leave you with the recognition that SPAGN is not the only major international event in the next few days, and maybe I might be the only person in the room that's actually excited about this, but it's the Eurovision Song Contest. So I think that we have fewer sequins, less bad singing, but we're clearly the most prestigious international gathering that's taking place in the British Isles over the next few days. But we can take some inspiration from that spirit of unity that happens in Eurovision. And I'm very sorry, Ireland did not make it to the finals, but I think I'm correct, Ireland have won the Eurovision Song Contest more than any other country, so you can relax, you're doing fine. Okay, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here with you all, and let's get started. I will hand over to Roger for our first session.